You ever feel like everyone just suddenly turned their back on you? Like, out of nowhere, the people who once cheered for you just disappear? Well, that actually happened to Johnny Depp. And no, this isn't just some movie plot. This was real life. He went from being one of the most loved actors in the world to being canceled almost overnight. And then somehow he found peace, redemption, even blessings. Crazy, right? But here's the thing. Most people think they know what happened. They saw the headlines, caught a few clips on social media, maybe watched a courtroom moment or two. But the full story? Not many really know it, and trust me, it's one worth hearing. If you've ever been misunderstood, or betrayed, or had to rebuild from rock bottom, this story might hit you harder than you expect. Today, we're diving into Johnny Depp's journey, from betrayal to blessing. And there's one twist in all of this that you probably haven't heard yet. Stick with me, because you'll want to hear it. So let's rewind a bit. It all started with a crash, a fall from grace, if you will. One minute, Johnny's flying high. Pirates of the Caribbean. Huge fan base, Disney deals, big paychecks. Life was golden. Then, in what felt like a snap, it all vanished. The reason? A very public, very messy legal battle with his ex-wife, Amber Heard. It wasn't just a breakup, it became a full-blown media circus, the kind where everyone had an opinion, and most of those opinions weren't kind to Johnny. Suddenly, he wasn't Jack Sparrow anymore. He wasn't the charming rogue everyone loved. He was the headline, and not the good kind. Studios. Backed out, Disney dropped him, Warner Brothers said goodbye. And just like that, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood was out in the cold. Now imagine being judged before anyone even hears your side, before any facts come out. That's what happened to Johnny. The media had a field day. Social media turned up into a war zone. Everyone picked sides. And through it all, Johnny stayed quiet. No rants. No big statements. No revenge tour. He just waited. He later said, "I knew the truth, and I was willing to wait for it to come out. I mean, who does that? Who stays calm when their whole world is crashing down? I lose it when I forget my Netflix password. But Johnny, he played the long game." Fast forward to 2022 and things took a turn. The defamation trial began. And suddenly the spotlight was back. But this time, people were actually watching. Listening. Millions of viewers tuned in every day. Not just for the drama, but for the truth. And slowly the world started to see something different. There were facts, recordings, testimonies, evidence. Things that hadn't been in the headlines before. It wasn't just about who was right or wrong, it was about seeing the full picture, and once people did, everything started to shift. The story changed. Johnny wasn't the villain anymore. He was human, flawed, sure, but deeply misunderstood. Fans came back. Support poured in. The internet, which once mocked him, now stood behind him. Someone even said, "He didn't just win the trial, he won our hearts back." But the trial was only part of the story. What came after was just as powerful, because you'd think after all that he'd want to scream, "I told you so," from the rooftops, right? But he didn't. He didn't rush back to Hollywood. He didn't do a million interviews. He didn't rub the win in anyone's face. Instead, he stepped away, he painted, he played music. He went on tour with Jeff Beck. He let the silence speak. That choice, just pulling back and focusing on healing, says a lot. It's like, sometimes the best way to rebuild is to rest. And while the world was watching for his next movie role, Johnny was making art, he was painting portraits, doing exhibitions, exploring music, even starring in a French film called Jean du Barry. And get this, he wasn't making headlines for drama anymore. He was making headlines for his talent, his creativity, his peace. He turned pain into something beautiful, something healing, and that's something we can all learn from. You know, a PR expert once said, Johnny Depp's comeback wasn't loud. It was intentional, artistic, and deeply human, and they're right. No viral apology tour, no fake smiles, just quiet steps in the right direction. Now let's take a second and think about this. How does someone come back from being shunned? By an entire industry? First, they protect their peace. Johnny didn't chase the spotlight. He went off the radar, took care of himself, focused on the things that mattered, like art and music, things that helped him heal. Second, he didn't waste time proving himself to people who didn't believe in him. He just let his actions speak. And finally, he didn't get bitter. He got better. And yeah, that might sound cheesy, but it's true. You can really feel it in the way he carries himself now. The interviews he gives, the way he interacts with fans, it's different. Softer, stronger. It's like he found something better than fame or money. He found peace. So now I want to ask you, have you ever had to rebuild after being misunderstood? After being judged without a fair shot? If you've ever felt like everything was falling apart, like no one believed in you, like your name, your truth, or even your voice didn't matter, then you're in the right place. Because here's the truth. You are not alone. It happens to more people than we realize. The betrayal, the loss, the quiet moments when you question who you really are or whether you'll ever be able to pick yourself up again. And Johnny's story? It's a powerful reminder that even when it feels like you've lost everything, even when the world sees you in the worst possible light, there's still a way back. You can rise. You can rebuild. You can create something even more beautiful. Out of all that pain, he didn't just survive the storm, he walked through it with grace. He didn't let the judgment, the rumors, or the loss of everything he built destroy him. Instead, he found a new way to move forward, quietly, purposefully, without needing to prove anything to anyone. And maybe that's the most inspiring part of all. It wasn't the courtroom win, it wasn't the social media support, it was what came after all of that. The peace, the healing, the rediscovery of his voice, not as a celebrity, but as a human being. So take a second right now and think, has something like this ever happened to you? Have you ever felt broken? Like you were at rock bottom, wondering how you'd ever stand up again? Maybe it was after a relationship ended, or when you lost a job. Maybe people talked behind your back. Maybe someone close to you betrayed your trust, or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe it was an internal battle, one no one else could see, the kind of pain that builds slowly over time until one day you realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. If you've been through that, if you felt that, I want you to know this. Your story matters. Your struggle is real. And your comeback? That's possible. It's waiting. Johnny's story is just one version of what it looks like to rise from the ashes. Yours might look completely different. And that's okay. That's what makes it yours. You don't have to be famous. You don't need the spotlight. You just need the strength to take one step forward, even if it's the smallest one. Maybe that step is telling your story. Maybe it's choosing not to give up today. Maybe it's simply realizing you can be more than what happened to you. So here's a little challenge. Something small but powerful. If you have a story like that, if there's something you've learned the hard way, or a moment where you picked yourself up when no one else believed in you, share it in the comments, not just for you, but for the next person who scrolls down and reads it. You never know who might be silently going through something hard right now. Your words might be the thing that reminds them they're not alone. Either, that's the beauty of stories. They connect us. They remind us that behind every screen, behind every name, there's a person with a heart and a history. And sometimes all it takes is one story to make someone feel seen. And while you're here, if this video hit you even a little bit, if it made you stop and reflect or just feel a little less alone, then I've got something else for you. Check out our deep dive on Robert Downey Jr. His journey is another incredible example of what it looks like to fall hard and then rise higher than anyone expected. I mean, this is a guy who was in and out of jail, completely written off by Hollywood, battling addiction, and now he's Iron Man. Literally. Talk about a plot twist. And just like Johnny, his story isn't just about fame. It's about finding yourself again after you thought you'd lost everything. The link is right here on the screen. It's definitely worth a watch. Now, before you head out, can I ask for one small thing? If this video helped you in any way, made you think, made you feel, or even just gave you a few quiet moments of reflection, hit that like button. It lets us know this kind of storytelling matters, and it helps more people find videos like this. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that too. We've got more stories like this coming your way. Real stories, honest ones. The kind that don't just entertain but actually mean something, and of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of Johnny's journey stood out to you the most? What did it make you feel? Let's talk in the comments, because at the end of the day, this isn't just Johnny Depp's story. It's not just about a Hollywood actor fighting to clear his name or rebuild a career. It's our story. It's the story of anyone who's ever been knocked down. Anyone who's been judged before they had a chance to speak. Anyone who's been painted as something they're not. It's the story of someone who's been hurt, betrayed, or abandoned, and somehow had to gather the strength to keep moving forward. If you've ever been there, even once, you know how hard it can be. How heavy everything feels, how the silence, the stares, the assumptions, they all start to wear you down. You start to question yourself. You wonder if maybe the world is right about you, if maybe you don't belong, if maybe it's too late to change the story. But let me tell you this. It's not too late. Your story isn't over. Not even close. What Johnny went through on a global scale is something many people go through quietly in their own lives. Maybe it's not in front of cameras or millions of viewers, but it still hurts just the same. A toxic relationship. A messy breakup. A false rumor. Being misunderstood at work. Feeling like your reputation has been shattered and no one's even interested in hearing your side. Yeah, that stuff is real. And it cuts deep. But the beauty of a true comeback is that it doesn't depend on who hurt you. It doesn't depend on what people think. It depends on you. It depends on what you do next. That's what resilience is. It's not about pretending. Everything's fine. It's about standing up even when you're still shaking, even when you're still hurt, even when you're not sure how you're going to make it through the day. It's about rediscovering your worth, especially when the world has tried to make you forget it. It's about remembering that your worst day, your lowest moment, isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter. You're not broken. You're not done. You're just in the middle of a plot twist. And those plot twists? They're what make stories powerful. They're what make people say, wow, they really went through that. And look where they are now. So wherever you are in your journey right now, whether you're at the very bottom, just starting to heal, or already halfway back up, please keep going. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a 5-year plan. You don't need a perfect image or flawless reputation. You just need the courage to take one more step. Just one. Maybe that step is choosing to believe in yourself again. Maybe it's reaching out for help. Maybe it's letting go of the weight you've been carrying for too long. Or maybe it's as simple as choosing not to give up, just for today. You see, your lowest point, that doesn't define you. What defines you is what you do after that. How you rise, how you show up for yourself, even when it's hard. And like Johnny, you can write your own comeback. It may not look like his, and that's okay. Your comeback could be small and quiet. It could be slow. It could be something no one else even notices. But you feel it. You know it. Maybe it's finding joy again after months of sadness. Maybe it's trusting someone after being hurt. Maybe it's smiling at yourself in the mirror after years of not liking what you see. That's powerful. That's real. And it counts. Because you are so much more than your worst moment. You are more than the mistakes you've made. More than the lies people have told about you. And definitely more than your darkest days. You are still becoming. Still growing. Still learning who you are. And that's something to be proud of. There's this quiet strength that comes from surviving the hard stuff, from choosing to keep going when it would have been easier to quit, from learning to love yourself again, piece by piece. That kind of strength, it's unshakable, and it's yours. So if no one's told you this lately, let me be the one to say it. You matter. Your story matters, and you're not alone. Johnny's story might have played out in courtrooms and headlines, but the truth behind it, fighting to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, that's something we all know in one way or another. And if you've made it this far in the video, if you've listened all the way to the end, maybe it's because a part of you needed to hear this. So thank you. Thank you for showing up, for watching, for listening, for being here. It means more than you know. If this video gave you something, hope, comfort, strength, go ahead and hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it helps a lot. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to do it. Seriously, if this story touched you, even just a little bit, then you're in the right place. We've got more stories coming. Not just the glamorous kind you see on red carpets, but the real, raw human ones. Stories about people who've fallen, fought their way back, and found meaning again. Stories that remind you that you're not the only one going through tough times, that someone else out there understands exactly how it feels to be where you are right now. Stories that lift you up when you're feeling low, that make you pause and think, or even just give you a reason to smile on a hard day. And those stories, they aren't just about celebrities or headlines. They're about all of us. About what it means to be human in a world that often moves too fast to notice when we're struggling. So yeah, go ahead. Hit that subscribe button. Join our little community here. You never know. The next video might be the one that says exactly what you needed to hear. And while you're here, if you feel comfortable, I'd love for you to share something in the comments. Your thoughts, your story, your own comeback, whatever's on your heart. Maybe it's something small, maybe it's something big. Maybe it's just a moment you had where you chose to keep going, even when everything inside you wanted to quit. That kind of story, it matters more than you think. Because someone else might be scrolling through the comments feeling completely alone, wondering if anyone understands, wondering if anyone else has ever felt what they're feeling, and then they read your words, and suddenly they don't feel so alone anymore. That's the kind of impact you can have. With just a few sentences. With just your truth. See, this video, it's not just about Johnny Depp. Yes, he's the one we followed through this particular journey. Yes, we talked about his fall, his pain, and his comeback. But the reason it matters so much isn't because he's a movie star. It's because his story mirrors something we all go through in different ways. It's a reminder for anyone who's ever felt forgotten, or broken, or misunderstood. For anyone who's been misjudged, mistreated, or misrepresented. For anyone who's felt like they were screaming into the void, just hoping someone, anyone, might finally hear them. If that's been you, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone. You are not finished. You are not broken beyond repair. You are becoming. Right now, in this moment, even if it doesn't feel like it, you are in the middle of your story. And just because this chapter feels heavy, confusing, or dark, doesn't mean the whole book will be. You're still here, still breathing, still standing. And that, my friend, means your next chapter is still unwritten, and I truly believe it's going to be something amazing. Maybe it won't be flashy. Maybe it won't make headlines. But it will be yours. And it will matter. It might be the day you finally feel peace again after a long season of chaos. It might be the moment you forgive yourself, or the first time you really laugh, like belly laugh, after months of just trying to get through the day. It might be the quiet moment when you realize you're okay. Not perfect, not all fixed, but okay. And that's enough, because healing doesn't always look dramatic. Growth doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it's just you choosing not to give up today, choosing to try again, choosing to keep walking forward even when it's hard, and that's powerful. You're writing a comeback, whether you realize it or not, and it starts with little steps, with choosing hope, even when doubt is louder, with choosing love for yourself, even when you don't feel like you deserve it, with choosing to show up, even when your heart is tired. That's where it begins. And Johnny's story? It's just proof that no matter how far you fall, No matter how many people turn their backs on you, no matter how messy your past feels, you can come back. You can rebuild. You can find yourself again. So, I want to say thank you for being here, for watching this far, for giving this story your time and your heart. I don't take that for granted, and I truly hope that, if nothing else, you leave this video remembering one thing. You are not what happened to you. You are who you become because of it. Your story isn't over, not by a long shot. So please, keep going. And when you do write that next chapter, when you rise again, stronger, wiser, and more you than ever before, I hope you'll share it. Because the world needs stories like yours. We all do. So again, thank you for your presence, for your courage, for being part of this journey with me. I'll be here, cheering for you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care of yourself. You're doing better than you think. Until next time.